The trouble with writing trauma stories is sublimation. I feel like I'm in the locomotion of tautology, a feedback loop that takes the form of a figure eight. It's better to ask forgiveness than permission as seduction tactic. Well, Warren, I'm afraid. If I could locate the trauma, a teleology would unfold to explain the why of all of me. Like in a moment of Aristotelian recognition, I would stand at the pinnacle of my suffering, a female Oedipus who has suddenly recognized that she was raped. All the unanswered questions of my life fall into place. I go to the oracle and he laughs maniacally. Every woman knows her fate. The truth is that by the time I was raped, my body was already in the cruel red light of suffering, buzzing to the beat of something perpetually breaking, outlined in blood. And when I look back at that godforsaken year, the year that I had blasphemed God away to nothing, I had already found myself engrossed in night terrors night after night that took the form of a demonic creature hovering above my body, the wellspring of creature fear manifested in a black hole corner of my room. And when I speak of the cruel red light of suffering, I am speaking of the radiant day glow of advertisements that assaulted me each day on my afternoon commute to work. I'm speaking of the times subsumed in my guilt of desire, guilt of being female and desiring. From Brooklyn to Tribeca, I transferred from the L at Union Square to the 123 each day, and Aulette walking through the long tunnel, sneering at the Svea Vodka robot cyborg fantasy, sneering at the life-sized Photoshop Tori Spelling and her nuclear reality TV show, sneering at the Terry Richardson Aldo ads depicting anorexic girls licking giant phallic pink ice cream cones, to eventually emerge from the underworld to be told that I dropped something. I dropped my fucking smile. And when I speak of sneering at the cruel red light of suffering, I must tell you that the sneer did nothing to protect me from swallowing that Dayglow panopticon, as it did not save me from starving myself for the last 2 or 3 years that I was in New York, as it did not save me from thinking that I had somehow been responsible, that I had always been responsible, that what had happened was not rape, but something else, and I had been responsible. As in, it did not save me from picking myself up by my bootstraps to lose 30 pounds that I didn't need to lose, and show everyone how driven I was, how perfect I was, how I would try my damnedest to be that very image. As in, my sneer did not save me from rape. Having no story acts as a refusal to submit to the image of the raped woman being a lack of a lack, the raped woman as a big black hole in the corner of a room, sucking life inward to nothingness, outlined in blood.
It's not that I'm sad, I just don't care, really, about anything. Everything is so fucked that I just don't care. By everything is so fucked, I mean that I feel like I have no agency. Except that I know that I do. Except that I don't.
Lusty bloodshed hard-on, impaling clitoris factor, aimless crying wreckage, binge drinking happening, drunken customer service agency, endless death song searching, 24-hour YouTube journey, buried panic attack bruising, deep internal wave surfing, blacked out violent bottle breaking, waking bashful mutilation thirst, morning shame walking, MDMA orgy tiptoeing, whiskey in bed shame caving, looping masturbation phantasms, recurrent third thing night terrors.
The shifting slack stripes and the emptiness of a circle unbound and bleeding out from a history, calling out from a circle, a stripe around the belly grown slack, holding tight and then slipping, pushing out from the encircled center, empty center.
I submerge my hands in ink and smear them across the wall. I cover my body in rich purple paint and rub against white paper. I place a sticker of the Virgin Mary on my bedroom window next to the fire escape. She hurts with the glow of blue frost. I race down the stairs to make snow angels in the dog piss snow, fill the silhouette of my body in the snow with marigolds, seed the blossoms with tissue paper and douse them in lighter fluid. I set them on fire and strip off my clothes. I watch the sunset. Like Francesca Woodman, I photograph every rendition of myself. With stones in my pockets, I am led to the rooftop, with a voice in my head thinking, make spiral formations with the rocks, channel aliens by shouting a line by Spicer into the tar sky, say the stones will soak up the moonlight and be used to heal what is broken in me.
I have to throw, to sting, where the home follows one around, the skin around, the self, the spirit of appearance, the outside layer and desired shelter. But there are other ways to say yes to open windows, a clear path to the wind outside, a clear path to the uncertain. The open window, though, the crevice to crawl through as well, a clear path to nothing but a way out, desire an endless wind, an endless breath on the skin, an endless tunnel out from.
Planted in the thought machine like a time bubble, sequestered story from cover to cover, answering in the apparition self, luminous, your ideal trembling sprung from division, the corpus callosum pile on the bedroom floor, action, potential, technic body, lighting fuses, entangled like a spinal cord and ripped.
Where X pushes up from under, what the hell am I doing here? Even the things I'm writing right here want to tear out the pages. No sense or meaning. What to tear the pages out? What do you mean? There is a notion, no sense of movement, loud banging in the background, alternatives to living. But who are you really? A page or a section of a page drawn up, all labels drifting further and further from grasp. It's not that I don't appreciate the statements, but I don't want to join them. Papered the walls in gray newsprint, read "God damn it" scrawled over and over in messy grandma cursive, over and over and over and over. Papered the walls with you inside. There are no words. Writing a page in blinding light reflected back to you in the space of the page. The only way beyond it to fill it in with black.
As if covered in blood, awakening on the road, or red paint from shock as I drained from the loss, the red on the hands, the gold of the field, not knowing quite yet and never quite knowing the location of this trauma, as if I could march to it in protest.
None of the lists even get made, let alone finished. You just do what you do. All the people who barely felt ready to report. Well, and a thematic thread, beautifully laced, not aware of a fair number of errors. We cannot barely muster to be reasonable. All those times you wanted to write but didn't, spent thinking on the couch, someone rushing home to clear. All those letters to men you could fall into. Bursts.
I stand behind the body and bear witness to a fissure I question the history of. I stand in front of the body and shadow puppet objectivity. I stand in front of the mirror, gasping in horror of the other. I layer my mind through the body, discovering something like the porous places of an ornate cake housed in a delicatessen window. I re-enter the body, experiencing the pins and needles of awakening to a rush of warmth on a bare mattress after months and months of a prophylactic New York winter. I hover above my body, lifting higher and higher to a synecdoche source cloud and wax poetic about permanent revolution and paradise now while crashing down to the earth. I follow my body, swimming like a shadow attached to flesh in Atlantic's depths. I settle into my body and enter the myriad dualities of a closed eyes meditation. I remove my mind completely and splay a matter of bloody meat on the kitchen counter to be fucked in a hipster misreading of Shunatta, fueled by lots and lots of whiskey. I awaken in my body during a cerebral death attack regulated by shameful amounts of sleep. With the slow movement of my wiggling fingers to wake me, I roll to my right side and live in the body with the thought still going, circumnavigating a skin parameter.